Well, good morning everybody. Welcome to Edinburgh and Talking Self Catering. There are over almost 200 people here today, visitors across Scotland. We have also visitors from Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland and Denmark and England today as well.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Murrayfield, the National Rugby Stadium, and it's a real pleasure to be with you here at the Association of Self-Caterers in Scotland.
The exhibition today has been excellent for us. It's been very busy right from the very beginning. We've had a constant queue of people coming to see us on the stand. We've got 3 of us here, and during the early morning and the lunch break we've been constantly talking to people. It's been fantastic, well worth it.
We've had a busy day. We've had lots of inquiries from various people all over Scotland, and we're hoping that things will follow up in the future for us.
But in any event, I've always felt that the advantages of going to a beautiful little house, cottage, flat with a seaside are so enormous compared with a hotel in many respects. The freedom, the ability to look after your young children without being worried that they might cause offence to others. The ability to relax by yourself with your family or your friends. The relative freedom of choosing where and when you eat rather than having a kind of prepaid meal arrangement with the traditional hotel. And I think that's the trend which is growing in society, along with the staycation trend as well.
We did a survey to 217 holidaymakers and asked them, what are your top complaints for booking a holiday home? Is actually being able to allow people to book quickly online, and 2, to be able to accept several types of payment methods. 94% of holidaymakers that would are booking holiday homes would book their next kind of holiday rental online and click a button and say, yes, I've booked it.
So, how's the travel industry reacting to this gloom, doom and indeed despondency? Okay, you've got some hotels which are good and innovative and expensive. This is what you're up against. This was transformed with £200 million of investment, which is never ever going to be repaid, but it was somebody with an awful lot of wealth who decided to do that. Other things haven't worked, quite a lot hasn't worked indeed in the hotel sector. This is the very first Golden Arch Hotel, Zurich Airport. I went to stay there. There's a McDonald's next door, you will not be surprised to learn. That didn't work. Easy Hotel, which 10 years ago was going to be the next big thing, that hasn't worked, although there are 1 or 2 budget hotel chains around that are working. The place in Europe that is doing best of all, both anecdotally and in terms of actual numbers, is London by a mile, which is kind of good because if you can get even 5% of the international visitors who are going to London to come to Scotland, well, that's great. The problem is enticing them to go much beyond the English capital. English people themselves love coming to Scotland. We are, of course, the #1 market for the Scots, but we like to go to Spain even more than that. We also like to go to Greece, which is now back on the agenda. It shows what can be done. Paris obviously doing very well. Amsterdam very much back on the agenda because the Rijksmuseum opened earlier this year, and the Van Gogh Museum has also been replenished for its 40th birthday. These are the cities that people are going to from London and the South East. They're also going to New York, and the very first time I went to Lewis. At the time I went there, I could have flown to New York and back for less than I paid to fly to Stornoway and back. It's not quite that bad now, but it's true. Las Vegas, unbelievably successful. This is partly what you're up against. Here we are in natural Scotland, and a completely artificial resort in the middle of the Mojave Desert is more successful than any other location on Earth.
People will look at maps. People want to identify exactly where they're going to be. And they're looking at the reviews more and more. Reviews are becoming increasingly important. And it's not just your big behemoths such as TripAdvisor, where you have, again, that mass validation. Increasingly, certainly with Google and logged in users, it's the personal recommendation. The average person will look at their phone 150 times during the day. If you're sending out newsletters, I think this is crucial. If people are getting your emails, your newsletters, but they're looking at them on their smartphones, if your newsletter's not optimized, then they're not reading it. Increasingly, almost 40% of that research phase is on a smartphone or a tablet. The actual quotes and booking tends to be dominated by a desktop device, which is understandable, but also it's almost a case of a chicken and egg. Is it a case of they don't trust the mobile device, or is it a case of you don't have a mobile site, or you don't allow for a user to actually click on an ad and call you directly? And then, no surprise, getting there, so navigational, finding out exactly on a map where you are, is dominated by a mobile device, hence it's called mobile, but then also the experiencing part of that as well. People are continuing to take photos, they're continuing to blog, everyone wants to write and be a blogger. No one's going to read it, but people will continue to upload and people will find it at some point. As long as your site is relevant to the search term, I don't see any issue with you actually appearing towards the top. And when I mean relevant, I mean your landing page as well, and also your actual meta tags, so the terms that you have in there. Yeah. But again, if you're a very unique cottage offering a very unique experience, and I'm searching for that, I don't see why you shouldn't certainly be appearing on that, because something a lot more generic is going to be harder to compete against, absolutely. Purely because of inventory and the amount of suppliers that are out there who can appear and show more relevant content.
My name is Carlos Villaro Lassen, and I'm coming from the Danish Self-Catering Association. And let me first praise the Scottish Association for your great work here, the great experience, and I'm sure that we would like to export this conference to Denmark, so thank you for that. And also my praise to Scotland. I promise you, it's my first time here, and it's not the last time. I'm coming with the rest of the family in maximum for 1 year from now, I promise that.
I think the event has been absolutely amazing. I didn't actually imagine that we would have this many Scottish self-caterers in one place. It's probably one of the largest groups that we've actually ever spoken to from HomeAway UK. So after the presentation, we had floods of people who were really interested in marketing their holiday homes with HomeAway. So that was absolutely fantastic. And it was just really great networking and talking to people who are managing holiday homes. When you work in the online business, you don't necessarily have the ability to talk to your customers on a regular basis. And so speaking to people who are working with us on a day-to-day basis and using our products and actually going through the entire process of trying to put their holiday home online and taking bookings and inquiries has been absolutely amazing and essential for us.
So whether it's a beachfront cottage or whether it's in the middle of the countryside, I think events like this allow us to actually get that interaction with those property owners, but also with those different agencies that deal with them as well.
There's been a lot of interesting parts. I think the opportunity to network with different people here. We've got the stands there. I've been able to go around and speak to a few reps of different companies that we deal with, the booking agencies and so on. I've been able to liaise with the committee of the organisation as well with queries. It's all about digital marketing. It's very much at the forefront of what we're doing nowadays. And one of the main reasons that I'm here is just to see whether we're doing everything properly, whether we can do anything better.
We had the minister who turned up, and he was actually very positive, particularly about the digital work that Visit Scotland is doing with some of our members, because it's so critical that businesses keep up. That, you know, the ground is changing under our feet, and all the digital stuff that's going on, it's a real challenge for wee businesses. As we heard today from many of the questions were all about how does a wee business keep up with these big businesses and the big agencies. It's a huge challenge. It was really good getting an international journalist like Simon Calder here for the day. It added a real weight to the occasion. He came up by train on sleeper overnight, had a story about that. He arrived here, he ran the whole day for us, he asked great questions, super presentation from him. His international background just really set self-catering in context. Very, very good for the day, and I think people here appreciated that.